So today we're going to be taking a look at a scenario where civilization starts over. In the last episode we did see the beginning of the Cold War, which also saw the first nuclear bomb be created, a very important thing for the series. We also had some religious wars down here in Turkey. We had some stuff happen in Africa with proxy war down here and this being given to the pink country. And we also saw a war in Iberia along with much else. Is that even a word, much else? But anyway, if you haven't seen that video, make sure to go watch it because it is quite important for the series. But yeah, let's just get started on this one, shall we? So first we go down to Burma, and we got to look at these guys and see that there's nothing left for them to expand into. They've taken over basically every country that borders them, and there's like no one left. So they're going to be going on a little bit of a sea time mission and attacking two countries at once. This is going to be once again Sumatra and the Borneo country. Now what do these guys do? They existed in a region where Burma is around. And this is going to lead to the Burmese making a landing on the northern part of Borneo, or this is actually more the western part of Borneo. Over there they're also going to make an invasion into the Sumatran country at the same time and just, yeah, obliterate. They'll mainly focus on the border then, and they'll basically just attack from both sides on the border. These are two separate legions doing there. And then going to make a spearhead out and encircle a bunch of troops that were fighting in here, which I don't know what the military strategies are. I mean, I do know a decent amount of military strategies, but this is just a random one that they come up with, I guess. It goes okay, and then I'm going to turn on major cities because we actually don't have that later on. We do see them sprout out and grab this major city off the Sumatran. They'll also even make a landing in the northern part of this island here. However, it's unlikely they're really going to take any of this land. This is more just to kind of force them out of the war. Basically saying, hey, if you give up Borneo, then we'll leave you alone, that's fine. And then make a landing on this island, which I'll use as a staging ground to make an invasion over here. And then basically just make several landings across the rest of the island and take over quite a lot of land at the same time. Eventually, with all the major ports collected, with more landings made across the country and more anti-aliasing gotten rid of, we see the Borneo part. It's basically just going to go and they'll basically say, yeah, we don't really care, you can have this Borneo part, take it. But you then have the Borneo country getting chased down as this major city is grabbed, and eventually the capital will be taken. These guys are a lot weaker than Sumatra is, even now when they lost Borneo, so they're basically just going to surrender very quickly. And yeah, they'll be the next into Persia. Not Persia, this is Persia. This is Burma. They have similar names. They don't have similar names, but I think they do. This is what we see in the peace treaty. Pretty simple, as the entire island of Borneo will just be annexed. And they'll quickly and brutally try and they'll quickly and brutally try to assimilate this island, as a lot of different cultures are in it, so they'll be quick to assimilate it. Quite brutally as well, you know, they're not going to let anything slide. They are a fascist power, so, I mean, it doesn't really hinder their reputation if they have any. Anyway, now we go to North Africa, and we see a new ideology be born. So obviously recently we've seen a lot of fascism around, well not a lot, but quite a bit of fascism around the world. Obviously in Neo-Persia and Burma, mainly at least, there's some other here and there, but mainly it's just these two. But now we come over to North Africa, as there's a new ideology going to be born that's not fascism, and you can even say it's the exact opposite. Now I promise you're not going to do like an age of aggression here. I have complete different plans for this. But in the blue team, or Egypt right now, it's very divided. They lost World War II and they made a democratic government, but the democracy is, I could pretty much make it a flawed democracy honestly, because it's just not very good. The guy who runs this country has been skipping elections, and there's also the Socialist Party who has been dominating, but he's been skipping elections, so they haven't really been able to show how, you know, influential they are. So what's going to happen is the Socialist Party is going to basically change to Communist Party, and we're going to see the rise of communism inside of Egypt. So they'll start in this region here with a big pocket breaking away like this. These guys are also very popular in the Sinai region like that, and they also have quite a bit of land over in this this area. And weirdly enough, they kind of come along the Nile as well, like in some of these regions in the Nile. So let's let the communist civil war begin. We also then have another pocket pop up near Sudan actually. But the Egyptian, or the old Egyptian government, is going to be quick to try and invade into some of these regions. They do have a pretty good military. Egypt, they are a quite strict military country. I'm also going to see them invade into this part over here. However, down south, the communists just have so much support, and they're going to basically be welcomed with open arms into many of these cities down here. They'll also kind of come up the Nile-ish area. Actually, where's the Nile? They'll come up the Nile and yeah, do that. Which will then lead more support to get to this area, which will kick out the Egyptians. However, they will completely push out this area in like the far western areas of the country. and also started push past the Suez Canal into the Sinai Peninsula. But the support for the communist rebels is just so much that they'll basically be able to encircle and take over this entire area, which will then lead to them kind of coming across here and doing something like this. They'll also then snake up the coast and make many landings in the Sinai Peninsula with lots of troops, which will help push back against the old government as they get pushed to here, and it's clear that the blue team is not going to survive this one. As we see them kind of come up all these major cities here where the Nile kind of is, I don't know what this is, the Nile. Then they get pushed up and grab more, and it's clear who's going to win this war at this point, as a lot of the world is supporting the communists. Sweden is even, which is a weird thing because they're not even a communist country, but it's not democracy, so they support it. However, the Dark Red Union will start to support the OG Egyptian government, which is going to result in a few pushbacks along this region. And they'll basically be able to push out the Nile area with lots of support from the Dark Red Union coming in, and they get up to the Suez Canal once again. However, that's the ending for Egyptian That's the ending for Egyptian success, as now we're going to see the communist rebels start back up in this region here, and this time they're a lot better prepared as they'll start to sweep into this area and take hold of this major city, in which they'll also push up like this and push back in the Suez Canal area. They'll also push along the Libyan border, who is actually sending supplies to the communist rebels for whatever reason. Libya's a weird country, they're kind of private and yeah, they don't really do much. We do see the communists sprout out and take over this city, and then they'll come up the Nile, and eventually they'll land where the Egyptian capital city is. They'll also come around and cut off all this area, so you can basically just cut all this in like this. And eventually the Egyptian capital is going to be captured, and yeah, they're going to surrender. I believe this is only the third time in history the capital's been captured, so Egypt has lasted a long time, but now it's officially going to be dissolved, I guess. As we now have the People's Republic of Egypt being born under a communist government, and yeah, our first communist nation in the world. Pretty interesting. There's a few other nations looking at this and being like, this could be cool. Down here, Puerto Rico, weirdly enough, is looking at it like, this could be a good idea. I don't know why they're like the most irrelevant country in the world, but they're thinking about it. And we're actually going to see something happen with Sicily in this. Also a bit different, as they won't be becoming a communist country. However, in their elections, which will actually show a map of their elections now. So this is actually the map of Sicilian elections. Basically, this region in the north wants to join up with Italy. This is the breakaway party, or the separatist party, which really wants to join with the Lime team. And then the Conservatives in the blue, and we have the left-wing party in the red. And the red party has actually got a socialist leader who wants to turn into a socialist country. And they do win the election. They have a lot more population in the Italian boot than they do really on Sicily. I mean, you could probably call Sicily the southern Italian country, because they don't really have lots of population in Sicily. It's more so on the regular Italian peninsula. But they originally originated in Sicily, so that's their capital. Kind of like, I mean, no, it's not really similar, but in a way like the red team, how they have the most populated area down here, but the capital is here because it's probably, no, it's not more historic, but it's just like the trade value. Also, I'm going to speak about the red team in a minute because there's something really important. But this is the elections we see, and the Socialist Party does win. So Sicily will turn from a democratic country to a socialist country, and this is just a, not really communism, it's more democratic kind of socialism. So like that. And also, speaking about this on the ideology layer, we have Albania finally turning into a democracy. They get rid of the age-old monarchy. I mean, it's probably not the same one as before, but they get rid of the monarchy and officially become a democracy. Anyway, back to what I'm talking about, the red team. I did say I was going to talk about these guys, but we finally are going to do it now. As you can see, the red team has a massive monopoly on oil. They have all of, like, Arabia. This is a extremely strong country with oil. And what this is going to do is they're going to basically start selling all their oil to the rest of the world that need it. They sell to the Dark Red Union, they sell to all these other countries, and basically they are the world's #1 oil exporter. And they become an extremely wealthy nation now, similar to the UAE in real life, and they start to rapidly modernise. And the red team already was modernised, but they're starting to modernise even more than they were before, to the point where they even start a nuclear program. Which we actually need to update the nuclear numbers, as these things aren't completely accurate anymore. So look at the Dark Red Union, they no longer have one nuclear weapon, and they now have a bit more. They have 3 now, officially. So they now have 3 bombs that they can use at their disposal, if they want to attack any country, which I don't think you would really want to do that. But moving just a bit north, we have the second country creating their nuclear weapon, and that is now going to be Sweden. They officially create the first nuclear weapon. Or their first nuclear weapon. They have 1 at the minute. Their nuclear program is a lot slower than the Dark Red Union. It's just unlikely they'll be able to catch up just yet. But I'm actually going to do power rankings now, as these have gotten a lot more interesting. Now, the thing is, in the last few episodes, I said that the Dark Red Union wasn't really strong at the minute, and I did lie, they were strong, but at this point, they are the #1 country in the world. They do have the best military and a massive navy that can basically come out along, just like do any long distance. They can do any long distance naval operations, very similar to how the US can do that in real life. So they are officially the strongest country in the world. Also, when they made the first nuke, they were officially the strongest, considering the fact that they could beat any country in a war with a nuke, basically. I mean, they wouldn't be beating any country, like, you could definitely do a lot of damage and easily defeat them. Number 2, then, is going to be Albania. Now, they are not on a decline, but they're being overtaken by the Dark Red Union in Sweden. And it's very quick, but Sweden is number 3. So in the next episode, it's probably going to be Sweden number 2 instead. And in fact, I'll just make it official. So it is very close, but Sweden is just slightly stronger, so they are officially the second strongest country in the world. Then we have Neo-Persia at number 4. They are also probably on track to overtake Albania in the next episode, simply because Albania is having a pretty tough time trying to get all their military together. However, they are in a pretty strong alliance with the purple country here, who is a decently strong country. So yeah, that's the thing there. Number 5 is going to be the red team. Oh, and also, I know I'm doing these power rankings very soon after the last one, but it has changed quite a bit, so I do want to just update it. But speaking of the red team, like I said a few minutes ago, they are selling a lot of oil, so their economy is rapidly improving, and they're also probably on track to overtake Albania. Number 6 then is going to be Shandong. 7 is going to be Florida, just like old. Not just like old, but just like the old power rankings I did. Number 8 is going to be Burma. In fact, no, I'm switching around. Number 7 now is Burma, and number 8 is going to be Florida. Then number 9 is Japan, and number 10 is actually going to be Korea. So these are the top 10 rankings at the minute. I could maybe do a top 15, but it wouldn't be the most interested in the world. So let's just simply get on with the rest of the video. There's actually going to be a land transaction here. So we're basically going to see a sort of trade take place for land. That's going to be Russia buying this tip over here of Estonia. And the land they're going to trade for it is going to be this bit here in this area of the lake. And why have they done this? Well, you'll see now. Unfortunately for a certain someone, the Finnish are going to be invaded by the Swedish in a very quick and brutal military operation. The Swedish, the second strongest country in the world, will try and invade Finland, who is probably not even top like 30. So it's going to go very quick, and they'll officially take over all of Finland quite swiftly. Just like that, Finland is completely wiped off the map, and yeah. They also have top secret plans of invading the Cyan country here. However, that might not manifest itself in the next few episodes. And you now really can see Sweden's dominance in the Baltic Sea. They did keep these islands as well, just because they wanted to keep, you know, the Estonian dominance they had. But they did give Estonia back to Russia and traded it for this land here. And I've still got 2 big events planned for this video, so yeah, just keep watching. But here now in Ukraine, we have a pretty big war breaking out. And if you remember back in the day, in fact, I'll just pull up an old map. This is an extremely old map, not fully episode 6.5. I did change a few things before that, but this is basically episode 6.5. So if I grab Ukraine from here, you'll be able to see I'm a massive idiot and I didn't actually plan out this war very well. Oh god, that's horrible. But basically, Ukraine is going to want to invade Romania, and they do very quickly invade Romania. They are probably a top 15 power in the world, but the thing is, Romania isn't the weakest country, so they will be able to push back against Ukraine. Also, they are allied with Azerbaijan, but then something bad's going to happen. As we actually see Caspia make a move and invade into Azerbaijan, they swiftly take the capital and move up the coast. They declare war on also both Ukraine and Azerbaijan. This is an extremely weird thing, but then Russia declares war on Ukraine. I know this isn't real life, this is a fictional thing. We do see the Russians move into the Ukrainians, also being supported by, you know, the second strongest country in the world. And this is absolutely crushing for the Ukrainian. And Caspia will also move more up the coast now, taking over all of this land from Azerbaijan, as well as kind of spearing out from here around the Red Team's border, which they are still sort of like in a decent like allied thing, by the way. Like, there is still the historical rivalry here. It's not really like as bad. So the Red Team is actually really nice to Caspia and allow them to use the country to like fire out troops from. And they managed to capture this here. And why is the Red Team letting them do this? Well, the Red Team don't really like expansion, and even though it is Caspia, they'd rather see Caspia get land than Ukraine. Why is that? Well, I think Ukraine is more of an expansionist country since they did attack Romania first. And we even see the Red Team invade into this region here. And basically, take over all this land just like that. What is going on? And also, another reason the red team doesn't like Ukraine is because they did cause the collapse of Russia, which the red team was quite fond of. The red team is really like the big neutral country in the war. They're basically like India, how India was in the Cold War, or even real life today, where they like both sides and they trade with both sides equally. But maybe both of the sides won't like that. We do see Caspia get over to here and basically capitulate the rest of Azerbaijan, weirdly enough. And they will then start an invasion into Ukraine. And Ukraine was not ready for this. This is an extremely bad event for Ukraine. And we'll then have a pushback made by Romania over here. We then see Romania move up into this region. And they take over this land here. And it does cause the Ukrainians to have a lot of bad things. Ah yes, bad things, great terminology. But they will invade up and capture this major city now, finally. This is going to cause the Ukrainians to basically declare that they want a peace treaty. They're going to not surrender, but basically leave the war and say, can we please have a peace treaty? Thank you. So let's take a look at that right peace treaty. So in the peace treaty we see this happen. And yeah, this is one of the most brutal peace treaties in history, just considering how much land Caspia gets. So starting off with the big boy, Caspia gets all of this land, now basically tripling the size, I think. The red team will then get this land from Azerbaijan, and yeah, Azerbaijan doesn't exist anymore, wow. Then see Romania just get one province over here, because Caspia did like so much work. And we then have the Russians getting these two provinces, and just like that, Ukraine has been heavily nerfed, and they're probably no longer a top 15 power in the world. So for our final event, we see continued Floridian imperialism, as they're now going to invade into Dominica, weirdly enough, and just take over the entire island of Dominica. I don't know, this isn't Dominica, this is Hispaniola, there we go, I didn't know that. But the Puerto Rican country's going like, hey, what are you doing? But they won't be able to do anything, and they'll basically just have to sign a peace treaty with the Floridians. This is what we see in the peace treaty, as these guys will be forced to give over this island. And that's actually going to do it for today's video. Hope you guys have enjoyed this one. This is probably one of my favourite episodes yet, actually. A lot of stuff happened in this episode, and I did really enjoy it. But the next episode, it's going to get good. But anyway, thank you guys for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.